The Aquarian, an exploration into the characters of Satan and Lucifer. In relationship to biblical astrological cosmology. One might even say cosmogony, which I think is synonymous with cosmology almost. Definitely related to each other. How do they differ? That's another video. I don't know. If you know, let me know in the comments. Um, but cosmology is like somebody's idea of how this world was constructed. So the Bible has one, religions have one, science has one as well. The Big Bang would be the cosmology of science until now. That's even debated or is proven not to be true. But even if it is, then when you attach meaning to it, like a spiritual meaning, then it becomes spiritual. But then you could do a conscious, like the evolution of consciousness. Is that a science? Can that be? What does science have to say about consciousness? It really, it can't say much, which is, we're so, it's an unconscious freaking religion. How sad is that? So, Lucifer, Lucifer and me. Once you figure out this stuff, you see how they put masks on it to have you, and they play that as like in magic with the K, in the esoteric traditions, when they teach the paths of the tree of life, Kabbalism, and then the numerology associated with that, and the planetary cosmology, which is the frame of the Kabbalistic tree of life. We we have lines that are put up by the author. So they'll switch around two cards in the tarot, say the strength card associated with Leo, and the seventh card, no, or the eighth, and they to with the 11th card, who's the justice associated with Libra. And now, just reflecting on that and seeing what do they have in common and where their differences, what there's a lesson to be learned in it, or they'll intentionally, like, exactly put a blind up, and only through oral tradition, i.e., these secret societies that based on a lot of just Kabbalistic, Hasidic groups, they will teach you it orally. And that's how they've kept their rituals and doing ceremony and ritualistic activities are a way of passing down oral tradition. And then tying your story that you want to get through to the heavens and the cycles of the seasons. So they serve as almost mnemonic devices and a memorization tool. And then often attached to that story of the movement of the celestial bodies in the background of the stars, or in the foreground, the stars in the background. A cosmology is put to that, and includes a creation, an operation, and destruction. The middle, the end, the Trinity, the Trimurti, Now, Satan! You can mock this stuff when you figure out that Satan is Saturn, which is why a lesson that the Tarot has brought down. Tarot's been a way of its images used to teach a story and express some type of reality, perhaps veiled or hidden to this existence. So that's the psychology of people, and then really it can be used, and it has been used, as we see it in marketing, advertisement, news, propaganda, is dark psychology. I don't like to use the word dark as evil, but as evil psychology, used to manipulate somebody. That's what separates white magic from black magic. Again, those words, I have to work with them, I guess. Does what the occultists, which has a bad term to it, you don't realize that we're all occultists. Anyways, that they are we all occultists? I don't know. We'll get back to that. But they separate white magic is different than black magic, and the rod used to measure that is it being used to manipulate somebody else. What do we do? You see that? I mean, curses against somebody else. The Bible's filled with them. Holy shit! The main foundational story is an apple curse. An attempt to explain perhaps why there's evil in the world, why man has an inclination to go after its animal desires, in contrary to the health of our actual physical beings and our mental, perhaps even spiritual health. Now, I would like to talk about why is Satan Saturn? Well, one only has to look to the very word. Sha, the Shin, the same as Shamash, the sun god, which is Shin to Amma to Shin again. And now, names for Saturn are Shabayot, Shaddai, and it's El, and it's the dark light. Yeah, Saturn. Who? Awesome. I don't want to get into Kabbalah too much, but I would. It could be the black sun, but there's other things that could be the black sun as well. Da'ath being the sphere in the Kabbalistic tree of life, which really isn't a sphere, and is likened to the void that you have to pass before you go to Saturn. But since we've discovered Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, the heavenly celestial bodies, asteroids of labeled an asteroid, but could be labeled a planet, or definition of planet is not even that great. It's a heavenly body. Ceres and Chiron. Chiron is in between the realm of Saturn and Uranus. So that's likened to kind of Anubis that takes us through the void. This Kabbalistic idea is alive in Christian mysticism in regards to the cloud of unknowing, the dark night of the soul. Well, we find that lots of these Spanish mystics, like St. Teresa of Avila, St. John of the Cross, were influenced by Kabbalah, Spanish mysticism in the 16th century, 17th. And it's Spanish mysticism that was infused with Neoplatonism, which was mostly thanks to the handing down of the records kept by Arabs, Persians of the Arab tongue, Muslims. Sufism is an example of their mysticism. Just as Kabbalah is the backbone, the heart, the blood of Judaism. It's the mystical spiritual traditions. That's why you could have rabbis say that, oh, that's Kabbalah and we don't practice that. A, they're lying to you, B, they're just ignorant of the deeper meanings of their own religion. I mean, there's no rabbi who doesn't know Hebrew, which the letters all have numerological meanings. So unless a rabbi were to totally just pull that out, you know, they're practicing, they're giving credence and even practicing Kabbalah. The only way not to practice Kabbalah, I'll get off this a little bit of a tangent, is to strip out the mysticism of the whole spirituality out of the Bible, out of the Torah. I don't know. Just reflections. Satan means lamp. Saturn is the adversary. The adversary to who? The sun as and the moon. It's just the adversary. Whatever is an adversary, an opposing force, 180-degree angle from 1, the sun, to 8, Saturn, 18. Numerologically, 18 is the moon card in the tarot deck. 18 is the amount of months between eclipses, which is a measure of the moon in relationship to the sun. The opposing force, Satan, as interpreted by the Jewish religion of what Christianity and later Islam came out of, was that Satan is just merely the adversarial force, especially within the sign of Capricorn, where we even see the devil card is represented by Capricorn, the number 15 in the tarot. And this is because it is adversarial, the opposite sign to Cancer, the sun, at the summer solstice. Jupiter exalted, Eupator, the good king. The light, the adversary to that is an opposing force that is needed along with the square, which is a 90-degree angle, which is in the energy of Mars. You don't have the adversary and the conflicting forces, which is Mars and Saturn, the opposing forces, then you don't have a creation experience. You need two in order to experience anything. As soon as you have two, those forces can come together in multiple ways, namely those of the cross. And the 12 major aspects within the 12 spoked wheel of the zodiac. I need to bring that down to a 6, really. The 6 major aspects, which may be conjunction when they're together, sextile when they're 60 degrees apart, the square when they're 90 degrees apart, the opposition, and then the trine. That's 5 major aspects. I mean, then we have a quincunx, a sesquiquadrate, inconjunx, angles. Those are measurements of light. Light is like the word, it's a messenger. And those, just like an angel is a messenger, an ankh of El. El is Saturn. El of the Elohim, Saturn, who is at the lowest point in the heaven on Earth in Capricorn, Saturn. And then we go to Aquarius, where Saturn is no longer the adversary to the moon, but is the adversary to the sun in Leo. But it's an air sign, so it brings it's when Saturn turns into the 11th sign of the zodiac. Aquarius is on the axis of gold with the sun and Aquarius. When it's in Capricorn and the luna's home of Cancer, then it's silver. So that would be like the Silver Age. But we were in, I think, the Iron Age. Iron Age would be the age of Mars, bronze of Saturn.
For our children.
Bronze of Venus. Tin, Jupiter. Lead, Saturn. These are everything goes to those seven planets. They are seen as the law administers. They all minister from Saturn, El, which is, even in the Hebrew scriptures, it says that the heavenly luminaries were ordained to be ministers to us, to guide us, to provide us. Could all be a bunch of malarkey. I don't know. I mean, you can make sense. Does the sun not have an effect on the earth? Are we not from the earth? From Ma'adim, the red clay. Mars is Ma'adim in Hebrew. Mars is exalted in Capricorn, which is Earth sign in water, starting off the season of winter. So it's cardinal, initiating what? Man, water and earth, clay, with Ma'adim, with the redness of Mars, which is an energy life force at its lowest point in the beginning of in the beginning of winter, but it's also at the bottom. Mars, bam, as I shoot, it's initiating you up now from the bottom. Yeah, we think Mars is an evil, bad planet, but it's essential. It's that fire, it's that primal force in us. Let's bottle that up and use it wisely. So, Saturn, Satan. It's not until Christianity that was really, these other images were attached to it. And now Lucifer. Lucifer is the light bearer, which is Venus. Phosphorus, the morning star. It's also the evening star of Vespers. And it's the light can blind, it could be deception, and it could also give consciousness and life. Everything has a dual nature here, I think. That's a very Kabbalistic notion. And perhaps we're called to reconcile the opposites. Venus is also love. But that love could be turned to lust and empty, and even in opposition to the full respect of human dignity when we objectify them or try to manipulate them for our own purposes, which is dark magic. Alright guys, I love you so much. Thank you for listening. I know I could go more into Satan and Lucifer, but it's it's almost like they're the gates of occult knowledge that you have to get through because they're put up to trigger a fear thing. And now these energies, these motifs are taken up, and then they're like, oh, well, there is no such thing as evil, so I can do whatever I want, or I have to balance the scales between good and bad. So that's why these great philanthropists often are the biggest human rights violators and sickos. And they do use Satanism, dark occultism for dark sacrifice shit, dark perverted sexual abuse shit. That is very much a real thing. They think they get power from it in the mystical realms, and in some realm perhaps they fucking even do. Blood fucking sacrifice of innocent is what they really get off of, and that is carried out in the sacrifice of the Catholic Mass on a daily basis, and in Judaism with Passover, Yom Kippur, sacrificing of goats, of lambs. Well, you think you get more power by a human being. The whole thing about Christianity. Alright. Get out of the Bible. It's a bunch of dark fucking black magic, blood bullshit. Love you. Love you.